What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. We are your hosts, Josh Elmer, alongside Chris Meglio right here, Iowa at the voice of college football. Welcome in. It is another call-in show with us, and we've made it a clean dozen. It's Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live, number 12 this evening. So happy to see all of you. Can't wait to hang out for an hour and talk Hawkeye athletics and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The WNBA, Caitlin Clark, I'm sure, is once again a hot topic in the state of Iowa, so we can talk about some of that tonight as well. Mr. Meglio, good evening, my friend.
Good evening. Man, what a time of year it is. All the sports are ending, and there is no prominent sports besides baseball going on. So it is a time of year, but this is the perfect time to take advantage of that and talk about Iowa football while no one else talk about anything else.
And I guess on that subject, I should go ahead and toss the link into the chat there for you if you want to jump in and chat with us. Really, anything. The floor is yours on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live tonight. We typically are talking Iowa football, basketball, you name it. But whatever you want to dive into, we could certainly do so tonight right here, Iowa at the voice of college football. Well, we had a decommitment at the start of the week. Quarterback Cash Herrera was a longtime member of the Iowa 2026 recruiting class, decommitted. And, today we've gone a more positive direction. Chris, we've added a couple of members to the 2026 class, though they are not scholarship additions for Iowa. The Hawkeyes today on Wednesday, June 18th, a couple of preferred walk-on commitments from Isaiah Oliver, a wide receiver, and from defensive back Noah Daniel, who is expected to come in and play safety. Oliver is the son of former NBA All-Big Ten point guard Dean Oliver. So that is a legacy connection for the Hawkeyes. That's always exciting for Iowa fans. Daniel was initially a South Dakota State defensive back commit and said, you know what, Iowa's my dream school. So the opportunity to be a preferred walk-on at Iowa, that's too tasty to pass up. So a couple of preferred walk-on additions today for Iowa football: wide receiver Isaiah Oliver, defensive back Noah Daniel. And Chris, some of my initial thoughts here. When the revenue share era first burst onto the scene, the discussions of it, and the idea that your roster limit was going to be set at 105, I think there were some Iowa Hawkeye fans out there that were a little bit concerned. Wait a second, what does this mean for Iowa's storied walk-on program? Is that a thing of the past? Well, today I think you're seeing another example, Chris, that the great walk-on tradition for Iowa, it is not dead, gone, and buried. It is still alive and well.
I would expect the walk-on tradition to stay. Walk-ons they're still going to happen. People want to bet on themselves. They still want to go to Division I football, prove they could win on, the highest level in the best conference and be a prominent player and contribute to winning and, ultimately take it to, the big leagues. That's what everybody kind of wants to do. And if they want money, as everyone does, sometimes everyone has a different route. There's been a lot of players that walk onto a team. They're the hardest worker in the room, which walk-ons, sometimes they are the hardest workers in the room. Then they earn their spot. They become starters. They become captains, and then they get all the money. So it's just a way to, make your story much better, build it from the ground up. And those are the ones that really want to be there. It's the ones that will do it for free. We'll pay the extra money, we'll put in the extra time just to be a part of football, just to be a part of a program. I think those are the ones that, you can really count on to always put in 100% of the effort. And I like kids betting on themselves instead of, taking going down a lesser route. Like, Isaiah Oliver, shout out his dad, former point guard for Iowa basketball. He had Army offers from, Army, North Dakota State, but he chose to come to Iowa as a walk-on because he wanted to bet on himself. Well, surely his dad being a Iowa alum, I'm sure he always had aspirations to be here. I'm sure this is where he truly wanted to be. But knowing he could have gone to those schools and probably on scholarship, but chose to come here, shows that he wants to, not only doesn't want to be a Hawkeye like his dad, but he wants to bet on himself. And that's what he's doing along with everyone else.
Of course, Noah Daniel, a part of this set of commitments today, preferred walk-ons for the Iowa Hawkeyes, committing today out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. Noah Daniel picking the Hawkeyes, and said that this was his dream school and didn't want to pass up the opportunity to play at his dream school, Iowa. I think that's really cool when somebody has an opportunity. South Dakota State, as we know from the addition of one Mark Gronowski, is a whale of a program. It's a big-time FCS program, a championship-winning program, and we're hoping for Iowa that somebody that was a jackrabbit coming over from SDSU is going to tilt that fortune in a positive direction for the Hawkeyes. So this is a big-time FCS program. And so it's not as though Noah Daniel had some lackluster opportunity. He had a big opportunity at South Dakota State and decided to take a chance on his dream opportunity to play football at Iowa. Chris, I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And you got to like the approach that the Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes are taking. Now, you got Mark Gronowski. You're seeing it with, this guy now where you're looking at the FCS. And, those players are really good too. There's a lot of players at that level that can come in to a Big Ten, to a SEC and perform and, really make the most of that opportunity, put their name out there. So I like that Kirk Ferentz is, as we talked about it on, the past 2-3 shows, you'd rather, Kirk Ferentz and company go get the players from the portal, the ones that have proven they could impact the game already on this level. And that's what he's doing. He just did it again. And, you got to feel more confident with the roster, the way it's playing out, knowing that you could actually go on YouTube and such and see film with these guys, see what they're about, what their skill set is, and what we could expect from them, whether they're starters right away or they're bench players that fill in for an injury or, even just on the bench as a reserve and don't really appear too much all season. I think it's a great approach, but nonetheless, it's always good to see people choose Iowa over all colleges, come here, they want to be here, and they want to perform. Surely Kirk Ferentz and his welcoming environment and the camaraderie that the team always has under his leadership, surely that plays a part. But, it's always good. The more commitments, the better. And Iowa's a premier place in college football, no doubt about it. Hawkeyes are iconic, man. They're black and gold.
You got to love it, baby. It is iconic. I guess I could share some of their statistics with you as well. Isaiah Oliver, the wide receiver out of Waukee Northwest, 36 passes, 430 yards, 6 touchdowns as a junior a season ago, and averaged basically 31 yards per kick return, 30.9 yards on his kick returns. And again, as you mentioned, turned down opportunities from Army, North Dakota State, and Northern Iowa. How about the new defensive back, preferred walk-on, Mr. Noah Daniel? His numbers out of Fort Dodge High School in Iowa, the 6-foot, 190-pound safety, again, had previously been committed to South Dakota State, but wanted to head to his dream school, Iowa. In his announcement on X, that's what he said. I guess I can read that for you, too. With that being said, I'm extremely blessed and excited to announce my commitment to further my education and football career at the University of Iowa. I also want to thank Iowa's coaching staff for believing in me and giving me a shot to play for my dream school, end quote. So that's straight out of the horse's mouth from Mr. Daniel. You got to love that. 17 grabs, 374 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, also 3 kickoff return scores a season ago. Daniel, as many do, Chris, before they embark upon their collegiate careers. He's a two-way player at Fort Dodge High School, wide receiver, defensive back. That is a typical combination for a high school kid, but he's going to play defensive back, we think, safety for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So he'll be roaming around back there for Phil Parker and company.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things, too, where, you love to see kids want to be here. This is the place they want to be for so long. And they're taking a chance on themselves. Like you said, South Dakota State previously, highly touted, FCS program. Then he says, okay, I actually want to go to my dream school. I want to bet on myself. Again, this is coming up. But, it's always different. I said this before. It's always different when somebody wants to be there, genuinely wants to be there, whether it's dream school, dream destination. And I got to compare it to, of course, because I'm a Bears fan, Ben Johnson wanted to be in Chicago for so long, and now he's in Chicago. The only thing you could expect is the best, because it's not only the fact that they want to play football, they want to be a part of the program there, but they love what the city's about. They love, they love everything outside of football when it comes to Iowa. And I think that's so huge. It's an intangible that maybe not a lot of those athletes had. That's my brother calling me in the middle of the show. I'll talk to him after.
I'm gonna jump in. It's a call-in show.
Yeah, I should tell him to jump in, but I'll call him later. It's all right. I called him twice today. He didn't answer. He's just such a busy man. He's got a promotion. Congrats to him. But
that sent me into fight or flight. I had to. It's like being in the movie theater. I got to make sure that my phone is indeed on silent as well. But
yeah, that's the point that my phone is on silent. So that means he called me a second time in a row to make sure I heard it. But no, I mean, what I was saying though is, it's another thing when people love, everything outside of the football field, the program. So, those kids I expect the most out of, just because they really want to prove themselves and they want to be here. And he's going to do everything he can to succeed, not only because obviously he wants to play, and if he really wants to be in Iowa City, if he truly wants to be here, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure he's on that field and make sure he doesn't have to go somewhere else to find that playing time. I think that's huge. And it's an intangible that not a lot of people have, honestly, but Iowa seems to be a common theme, and I think that's for a good reason.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. This our second call-in show. So if you're new to this, welcome. Great to have you, Hawkeye fans, here with us on Iowa at the Voice of College Football. I'm Josh Elmer. He's Chris Meglio. Do us a favor. The best pathway for us for success tonight and moving forward is if you like and subscribe to the channel. Please like this video, share it, tell Hawkeye fans to come in and hang out with us. We're really just trying to build an Iowa community here to be proud of on the old tubes of views and anywhere you consume your podcast. So please like, subscribe, and share. But it is a call-in show tonight. So I have, once again in the chat, tossed in there the StreamYard link. And basically, just with your phone, your laptop, you can just click that link and you'll fall backstage with us. And then, boom, we'll jump you into the front of the line and get you into the show here tonight. We'll do this typically on Thursdays, but I've got some broadcasting responsibilities tomorrow. And so we bumped it up a day to Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. But typically our call-in shows Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. So before we jump into taking your calls, let's just say hello to everyone. Robert's in the house. Hey, Hawkeyes. Robert, what's up? Great to see you. Jacob, we see you out there with your comments. I think you
That's both my guy.
Is that your boy?
Yeah, I had him in a few classes. That's my guy at Iowa. It's nice to see you, man.
Jake, what's up, man? Jacob, welcome to the show. Great to have you here, both on X, Twitter, formerly or X, formerly known as Twitter, and on YouTube. The comment was in both spots, but a record prediction for Iowa. Hang on to this. I just want to roll through a couple of more thoughts here, and then we can jump into that. And let's get your record predictions out there as well. Kelvin Fisher says a 10.73 100-meter dash. Is that for Daniel? I believe that's for Daniel. So I see Jacob's hanging out. He's ready to jump in here with us on the Collins show. Real quick, our ceiling for Iowa, our record predictions. What do you think, Chris, before we start taking some calls from all of you?
Well, if you look at my Twitter, I posted something about that the other day because I saw that On3 asked the fans what they thought. Then I looked through those comments. I said 10-2. That's a respectful 10-2. I expect no less from Iowa. I could expect better, but I can't expect perfection because not even the best programs in the country are undefeated. So I'm gonna give Iowa some grace. We had a good team last year, but it just didn't perform up to standards for, one reason or another. But I think this year, Iowa's gonna prove that they are underrated coming into the season, even though we are on the back end of the top 25 in some lists, top 30, barely on others. I just feel like our offense is going to really be a catalyst for our success because the defense is going to hold up, and the dramatic change in offense, we're going to score more points than we have in the past few years, and by a decent margin, by a couple points or so. I'm saying 10-2. I'm not sure what your take is, but that's what I expect. And I expect that, at least fighting for a chance to be in playoffs.
I think you and I are going to be lockstep here. Albany obviously is a win. I'll just go game by game on the schedule here. Albany is a win, obviously, layup game, as is Massachusetts in week 3. At Iowa State, you should have won this game a season ago. You were in complete control. You're dominating the football game. And then McNamara, for whatever ill-advised reason, makes a mistake throwing the football across his body. Didn't have to do it. Oh, if he just makes an Iowa quarterback play, just eat the football, then I think Iowa wins that game versus Iowa State. Of course, he doesn't, and that was the turning point in that game. But okay,
is that slight shade right there? I'm hearing.
Maybe, yeah.
Slight shade. Maybe sometimes the truth hurts, man.
Just take care of the football, man. We pride this program on valuing the football and not making silly, unnecessary decisions. In that moment, it was the anti-Iowa quarterback, and obviously it wound up being the turning point in the football game. You look back, and from that point forward, the Cyclones rallied and won, had the big kick, of course, late. Okay, so they've got Rocco Beck back. They've got the quarterback back. It's your first big test of the season. It's on the road. I just think Iowa is better. I think they should have beaten that team a season ago. So I'm going to say win to start. At Rutgers in Piscataway, I think you should be better than Rutgers. I think you should win that game. Indiana is sort of a wild card. Tough to know what to think about Mendoza and company just yet. Obviously, year one with Cignetti, they were much improved. I like Iowa to win that game and remain unbeaten as they're climbing the rankings. At Wisconsin, I'm going to have to see it to believe it. With this era of Wisconsin at this point, you just put on the worst beatdown of the Badgers in years a season ago. And until proven otherwise, even though it's in Madison, I have no reason to believe that Wisconsin is beating Iowa. Penn State, I think, is the first loss for the Hawkeyes, though that, if you get that one, if you're perfect at that point and you get that Penn State game at home, now we're talking college football playoff. You have clearly emerged very seriously into the college football playoff discussion, and you're probably already there anyways at that point if you're unbeaten. But you beat Penn State in that game, and you're starting to think some lofty things. Minnesota, it was not a fair catch. I think you beat the Gophers. Oregon, I don't know a lot about, but I'll tentatively say that that's a game that Iowa drops. At USC, Lincoln Riley, I think the physicality of Iowa is not a good match for the USC Trojans. I think you go out on the road, tough road game, you win it. Michigan State, Nebraska, I think they win versus Michigan State. Another one of those games, Chris, that for some reason Iowa dropped last year. They had no business dropping it, but they did drop it. I think they avenged that in Kinnick this year. And then at Nebraska, I can't pick the Hawkeyes to lose to the Huskers. Come on.
No, man. No, you cannot. I said 10-2. I'm going to stick with 10-2, but for some reason, I just have a feeling that there's going to be one game that we should win that we're just not going to win. Every team has a bad game. I think one of those really bad games is going to happen against one of these opponents that we should beat. I feel like it's ringing in my head. Minnesota is going to be that game. I don't know what's telling me, but I feel like Minnesota is just going to be one of those off games where our defense just can't get a stop, or our offense just can't get going, and they're going to win by like 2 points on a low-scoring game. That's what it's giving for me. But we're on board with Penn State, and and I think Oregon's going to be tough. They're a premier program now in college football. Probably, sorry to the Hawkeyes, probably the best uniforms in college football because their colors are just cold. I do want to say now, because now is my opportunity. I do know my football schedule, what games I'll be going to. I won't be going to Rutgers. I will not be there for Indiana because that's my birthday, so we celebrate with the family. And I will not be there at USC, very sadly. But the rest of the games, I will be there. So if you follow me in the Daily Iowan, you can see my live tweets. You can see my articles on the games. I will be up close and personal. And I think it just makes this whole show better.
Maybe we need to like crowdfund this thing to get you to Piscataway and LA. Jackson, are you wanting to jump in here? Yeah, okay. We've got Jackson Johnson in the house. Jackson, what's up, man?
What up, man?
How's it going, gents? How you doing tonight?
We're doing fantastic.
Oh, man, it's only 73 days till kickoff for the Iowa Hawkeyes, I believe.
Yeah.
How about that?
Nice accent, man. I didn't know you had an accent like that.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm just ready. I'm just ready for the season to start already.
Yeah, you telling me, man. Who's your forgive me for asking. Who's your team? Who's your favorite football?
Oh, Alabama's my team.
Makes sense. That's where that. Are you in Alabama? You live in Alabama?
Mm-hmm. 15 minutes away from the border of Tennessee.
Yeah, that's where the accent. You got a strong country accent, man. That's strong.
Oh, man, it's going to be interesting to see what goes on this season. Like, we're getting closer because we got media days. The preseason magazines are out. The Phil Steele one's coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always exciting. What is the buzz right now down in Bama? How concerned are they about, do we have the head coach right?
I think a lot of people are concerned, but I say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater on Kalen DeBoer. He's going to do magnificent things in Tuscaloosa. Because I know, like last night, Coach Smoke and I talked about on the Primetime Live show for the Alabama channel that we believe Alabama's going to be 10-2, 11-1. I think they could be like 10-2. We're good to go. Like, all you really have to do is finish in the top 4 at the SEC. You're in the playoffs. I mean, I really think the Crimson Tide could get to national title, to be honest.
How about the I mean, it does feel like the quarterback position. I don't know what it looks like after Milroe, how confident you are in that, but it does feel like a tailor-made opportunity for Alabama to remind everyone that, hey, we've recruited okay. And this program, though it was an initial bump in the road for Kalen DeBoer, that it probably not going to stay that way. What about a Big Ten SEC crossover? This is obviously an Iowa channel. How do you what's the reception been to a potential Big Ten SEC crossover?
I think some Bama fans are cool with it, but me, I don't like it all that much because I feel like it screws up, some of the rivalries in all of college football, the non-conference ones. Because, I mean, I know like Georgia will be fine. Florida State be fine. Clemson, South Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky be fine. But I worry about what happens to Florida, Miami, because like they've not been playing each other on an annual basis since the end of 1987. It's been every now and again. I worry about the Iowa State rivalry. I worry a lot about Notre Dame, USC, and so many others in all of college football. I mean, we could see like Oklahoma, Nebraska. I mean, that's a bright side to that, but I don't want to be sacrificing other games in all of college football for one game or a few others.
Let me ask you this though. If what your guys' schedule is now in the SEC, do you really think that just one of those games being a Big Ten crossover, the non-conference games, do you really think it'll have that big of an effect?
It wouldn't be that big of an effect for Alabama, but I feel like it would have like a big effect for other schools.
Should it not be a mandate, but if schools wanted to have the Big Ten crossover, they could opt into, but they're not required to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's fine with me.
Bama's got the fortunate situation to where Auburn, you're getting the Iron Bowl, one way or the other. Yeah. Jackson, hey, man, thanks for jumping in.
Oh, you're welcome, gents. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Hawkeyes about the magic that Chris and Josh are creating on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live Monday nights and Thursday nights on the Iowa College Show.
That's right, baby. Jackson, I gotta get like you, man. I gotta soundproof this office in here. I like that. That looks good, buddy.
Yeah, there you go, man. Don't forget to tell cashiers Hive about the magic Josh is creating on Hawkeye's Wire and the magic Chris is creating all over the place. And if you're liking, commenting, subscribing, and click on the notification bell to Iowa The Voice College Football, that means one thing. Just because Hawkeye's Live with Corey Bradder from the Hawkeye Star Mark Rogers not on this Tuesday does not mean it won't be on this week. You will see it on this week. We promise you. That's for sure.
Jackson, you're the man. See you, buddy. Have a good night.
See you, gents.
What's up, man? Nice to meet you.
And let's keep it rolling. Jake was in here earlier, and we dropped off on us there. Jacob.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Welcome to the program, my friend.
Hello.
How's your summer been, man?
It's been good. Obviously not as good as yours. You got this going on, but I'm doing announcing at my local dirt track up in Vinton.
Yeah, I saw that, man. How's that going? Yeah, he's a broadcaster. Big wrestling guy.
Big wrestling guy. I actually got my national shirt on right now, actually. Just chilling.
Yeah.
No. First time calling in. Been wanting to talk football. I definitely agree with y'all. I personally think, though, that 10-2 is the ceiling for this Iowa football team. Losses to Penn State, Oregon. Realistically, I see maybe a loss to, like Chris said, one of those losses where Iowa shouldn't lose, but they do. And it'll sneak up on us. Or we lose to a team like on the road like Wisconsin, or we lose to Iowa State, unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm seeing more 8-4 range. I want 10-2, obviously, but the history of this football team, it hurts, and I want to go against it, and I want to be positive, like, yeah, college football playoff potentially, but until I see it on the field, I can't say that.
No, I think, Jacob, that's totally fair, and I'd love to tell you that you're wrong, and, how dare you, and this, that, and the other, but I totally get where you're coming from, and I look at it as, okay, games that, and there's probably maybe even one that gets into this category just because that's the way that college sports works, right? And college football works, to where it's, okay, I mentally today conceivably can't see Iowa losing this game, but there's probably one of those games on the schedule that I'm not thinking of right now, right? But games that theoretically today I could see Iowa under a scenario losing, talk myself into. At Iowa State, that I can talk myself into. Indiana, if Mendoza's really good, right? If Cignetti just has it rolling again. Penn State, obviously. I guess you have to throw Wisconsin in, too, even though I think they're garbage under Fickell so far. But just because of the rivalry factor, I guess you toss that one in, and it's at Wisconsin. Oregon, okay. At USC, yes, and at Nebraska. So what is that, about half the schedule that I could at least mentally talk myself into going the wrong direction for Iowa? And I don't think it's going to play out that way. I mean, if you look at it, think about it from that standpoint, worst case to me is you split those games and you wind up 9-3. I'm going optimistic and saying that, you get to that double figure mark, but I definitely understand and hear where you're coming from.
I mean, I don't know what my schedule will be because I'm working with KRUI, and their sports director is one of our buddies. His name's Aiden Wirtz at he's going to try to get me on the radio at least once or twice when this season. If not, and I can go as a fan, I cannot wait to see what Kinnick will look like and sound like when Penn State and Oregon come into town.
Yes.
It is. I mean, last time we faced Penn State at home, I can't remember for the life of me. I don't know if it went too well, because I don't think that was the time when we were 4 and they were 3. Or I'm thinking differently. But it's still going to be a raucous crowd, and I think it's going to be fun to watch. I just wanted to call in, ask about records, what y'all think. I saw what Mark Rogers put out for Iowa. just want to get y'all's attention. Plus, say what's up to my man Chris. He's doing a great job.
My guy, always
good luck on the broadcasting, Jake.
Yeah,
appreciate you, Josh. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Josh. Keep doing more good stuff. I'm going to keep tuning in as much as I can.
And good luck to your man George Kittle and the Niners.
Oh, that's for my wife. I'm a Bears fan, just like Chris.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
My wife absolutely loves the Niners, and I mean, I like George Kittle, so it kind of works out a little bit for her. So,
hey, we'll catch a Bears game this year. Don't worry. We'll drive from Iowa City.
I'm actually going to the Bears Saints game. I already got tickets this year. I got a couple buddies that are going to come in for the Iowa Penn State game because one of them's a Penn State fan. So he gets to come in, experience Kennick for the first time, and then we turn right around and go over to Chicago the next day for Bears Saints.
What a weekend that is.
Tell me about it. Well, thank you for having me on. Best of luck to both of you.
Thanks, brother. Hope to see you as a regular going forward, Jake. See you, buddy. Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well.
And thanks for hanging with us. A couple of comments. We've got T. Hink waiting. We've got Trenton waiting. So folks want to jump in. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. With this, our call-in show. We'll have a call-in show once a week, typically on Thursday nights at 6. But this week, and on an occasional week, we'll bump it up when my broadcasting schedule just gets obnoxious, Chris. So thanks for being flexible with me. But a couple of comments before we get back into the calls here. Chase says, "I'm here now. Sioux City, go Hawks, baby." And this remark: the linebacker group is critical. Chris, we've talked about this before. The linebackers, you're replacing a lot there. You're replacing, obviously, you're replacing Jay Higgins. You're replacing Nick Jackson. And it's been a position group with, the history there with Campbell and Benson. I mean, you've had great players of late at backer, and I'm sure you can go further back than that. But do they have the speed, Chase asks, lateral, side to side, line to line?
I think Iowa's never had – you got to think about it. Iowa's never really had a top linebacker in a high school class coming into the program. But we constantly produce pro-bound linebackers coming out of Iowa. And, again, I've been so adamant about the development program at Iowa and their ability to find diamonds in the rough and really make them shine, sharpen them, and put them out there, and they end up being some of the best diamonds you'll ever see. That's why I feel so confident about the defense. Even though we lost two of the best linebackers Iowa will ever see in Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson, dynamic duo, I still believe in what we've always done, which is, next man up, develop them and produce. And I'm definitely confident. And although we haven't seen much yet of the other guys, because obviously when you have Nick Jackson, Jay Higgins, you don't have them on the bench very often. So we've seen so limited of what's after them. But there's always that certain level of confidence I always have, because just the way we, next man up, and the way Kirk Ferentz keeps guys ready. And, when they do come in, when they do get the opportunity, they make the most of it. And that's why our defense is what it is. That's why we have the reputation we do. So I'm not wavering too much.
It's kind of exciting, wondering what that's going to look like for Harrell and for Shire, two guys in particular we hear good things about. Let's get back to the most important part of this, which, of course, is you out there for Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. Mr. T. Hink in the house. Taylor, what's up, man?
How's it going, Josh and Chris? How are you doing this Wednesday evening?
It's good. Nice setup, man. You got the Hawkeye flag in the back?
Oh, yeah. I got the good old setup here in my work office kind of space here. I work from home Mondays and Fridays. So
nice. Yeah, that's a good-looking office right there. You're decked out. Looks sharp. What's on your mind, man?
Oh, it's counting down the days of the football season. It's straight in the off season now. It's hard to find any good content on the YouTube channels these days in the summertime. So anything we can find, it's good content. So,
yeah.
73 days. So, we're starting to get there, starting to sneak on up on this thing. I know that's a ways out yet, but what do you think? What's your record prediction as of right now today?
As of right now, I think 9-3. I think Iowa loses to Oregon and Penn State as the usuals. And then I think Iowa trips up out west against USC. Kirk Ferentz always haunts him out west. So I think that's another trip up game. So, and maybe another slip up, but I think we get revenge on Michigan State this year. I think last year was a fluke situation. Nebraska, I just can't count them out. They always seem to lose in one-score games. And the Minnesota game, PJ Fleck, the boat's going to sink again on him. I'm sorry to break it to him. Wisconsin, I just think they're garbage under Fickle. I think he's on the hot seat to begin with this year. And there's a possibility he might not even make the season by the end. So I think he is on the hot seat. Indiana, I still am not really on the Kurt Cignetti gang yet. I still think they're going to be good, but I think they're going to take a setback this year. Rutgers, I think Iowa takes care of business out east against the Rutgers and Piscataway. And then the three, I guess not third, but the two cupcake games is a pretty shock. But Iowa State, I think that's going to be also a tough game. But Iowa has Iowa State's record at Ames, and I think Iowa still gets it done there this year.
This is what I will say about Iowa State, because they've never been a premier football program like that. They've had some talents like Breece Hall, the Brock Purdy's. Then you got the two receivers that just went to the Texans. But they were pretty good. They were just as good as Iowa, and that was probably the best season they've had in quite some time. And Iowa, this was a mid-season. You got to think about that one. I don't think they're gonna have two receivers like they did last year, and I think that's really gonna show up this year when they're struggling to get downfield a little bit, especially against the Hawkeyes. I'm predicting the blow, and I hope my family sees that. I don't know if any of them are watching. I'm gonna send this to them. I'm texting the chat. I'm blowing them up when Iowa beats Iowa State.
How about I will take any victory you can give me in the Cy-Hawk game right now. Where do I sign? We'll take it, because I do think that is, like it is most seasons, an obvious litmus test. Which direction is the compass going to point game for Iowa? You win that game, and okay, you're off and running. And we ran down the schedule earlier, but there's not a lot in the way of built-in losses in the first half of the season. You can talk yourself into things going sideways, but if you get through that Iowa State game, you feel like there's a great chance you're going to be unbeaten going back home on October 18th versus Penn State. So that game, man, is just massive. And Chris, you're right. That duo of receivers, the best duo of receivers in Iowa State history, is not walking back through that door. That is fortunate news for Iowa's secondary.
I was going to say they don't have the top end receivers this year as like they did last year. I think that's really their main thing. I think they can just load up on receivers. I think Iowa's actually probably got the better receivers this year. And I honestly would probably take Mark Gronowski over Rocco Beck this year. But I would have taken Rocco last year any day. But I think Iowa beats them. They just don't have the outside receivers. And maybe they got them, but maybe they got one in the diamond in the rough in the portal this year, because they did get some portal receivers. But I just don't think they're well known yet. And I think Iowa gets them at the Ames. So.
I like it. 9-3, and I could probably down the road maybe talk you into 10-2 or 11-1 if things really start going great. Chris, I didn't mean to jump all over you there.
Oh, you're good, man. I was actually going to ask you a question as well as Taylor, because I'm keep eyeballing Indiana and just thinking about how they went 11-1. I think it was last year. Kind of the rebound for the ages in terms of what the program, what they're used to, and all of a sudden they make this huge jump. They're one of the better programs in the country, and the only thing that really changed was a couple guys stepping up and a coach. I've been so adamant about a coach can do a lot for you, so you don't think, 11-1 is hefty to replicate, but you guys don't think they could replicate at least like 10-2, or are you guys really saying they're gonna fall off a little bit?
Indiana, I guess I need to look at their schedule. I guess I haven't paid too much attention to Indiana's schedule. Have they play anybody tough this year? I know they play Iowa, but
didn't they start the season?
Here's what they've got.
Their first loss was late in the season, wasn't it?
Yeah. They were undefeated for the whole year. Here's what Indiana's got: Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, win. Non-con, there's nothing there. Illinois will be tough, so their Big Ten opener is actually the start to their Big Ten slate is pretty challenging 1, 2, 3. Illinois at home for Indiana, at Iowa, at Oregon. So it's not crazy to talk yourself into the idea that Indiana could be 0-3, looking up, out of their first 3 Big Ten contests. Then it starts lightening up. They go, they host Michigan State, they host UCLA, they're at Maryland, at Penn State, big time challenge there versus Wisconsin, at Purdue. So there's a chance that Indiana could close strong. They really need to, if they can get one of those 2 road games versus Iowa or Oregon, they're going to be in pretty good shape. And obviously you want to beat Illinois there. T. Hink, hey, man, thanks for jumping in here, buddy.
Hey, no problem. I'll be on next week, so go Hawks.
Appreciate
Go
you.
Hawks, baby. We look forward to it.
Yes,
Trenton has been patiently waiting as well. Trenton, hey, thanks for hanging in there and being patient with us. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Oh, what's up, guys? Hey, you guys are doing a phenomenal job with this show. I just want you to know that first and foremost. So you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah. So let's be realistic here. The ceiling's always going to be 12-0. I mean, that's honestly the reality of a football season. I mean, you go out there and play every game to win every game.
Sure.
Good point.
You get Indiana, Penn State, Oregon, all at home. If somehow, I get it, they're 1-14 in their last, 15 games against ranked opponents. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Gronowski's this is a different animal. Like this really takes me back to at the end of 2014 when Kirk had to make the decision, am I going to ride Rudock and let CJ go? Or am I going to say, okay, like this is CJ's team going into 2015? And look what happened. And I think they kind of did the same thing. I mean, you could have rode Brendan Sullivan this year to an 8-4 record.
And maybe better than that, Trenton. If the cards aligned the right way, dominoes fell the right way, against this schedule, Brendan Sullivan with his dual threat abilities and another year learning Tim Lester's offense, a full offseason, knowing that he's the guy, right? That this is his team, so on and so forth, with these weapons that we feel like are upgraded. Look, there's a scenario where he could have got you. 9 wins, 10 wins, and maybe even into a college football playoff berth. But I pick up what you're putting down. Iowa said, you know what? We're not rolling the dice on that situation. We're not sitting here saying that Brendan Sullivan, and not that Brendan Sullivan couldn't have maybe won this job if things played out differently. If Brendan Sullivan had decided to play, stay and play with Iowa. But look, when you go get Mark Gronowski, we don't know the financials behind it, but we can kind of put 2 and 2 together and surmise that Iowa ponied up to get Gronowski to basically come in and be the starting quarterback, and said, we're not just going to say that we're good enough at quarterback right now with Brendan Sullivan. We're going to go pay to get somebody that we think can raise, Trenton, as you're talking about the ceiling of this team. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah, and granted, I know Mark's never taken a D1 snap in his life, but man, you just don't go do what he did at South Dakota State if you're nobody. I mean, the dude's got talent, he's got moxie. Like this, I'm gonna be honest, and I may be way off. Maybe they go 7-5. I don't know. But I'm just saying, realistically, the ceiling is 12-0 again. Mm-hmm. And it really is. You got all the heavy hitters at home. The Kinnick magic comes back. The defense is not going to fall off. I mean, you can – listen, Jaden Harrell's going to be a stud. Carson Schar, if he stays healthy, that's the best linebacker that Iowa has had probably in a long, long time.
Linebacker in general, or
in general, Carson Schar, if that dude stays healthy, man, that I've heard nothing but that dude's going to be a beast.
Trenton, you are a cool drink of optimism, and I love that. I will say this too, that I do think you can look at Iowa's transfer portal activity, and I know that I know that what the Hawkeyes do in the transfer portal in general is maybe not going to wow folks that aren't sitting here on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live, right? We kind of understand how Iowa's playing the transfer portal game. Beyond Gronowski, it might not wow you a lot. But the fact that Iowa didn't make a point to go find a Nick Jackson out of the transfer portal, they've done that in recent years if they felt they needed to. Maybe that is an indication, Trenton, that they felt pretty good about what they had from a retention standpoint in Iowa City.
100%. And I know a lot of people are going to be concerned about the secondary. I'm going to tell you right now, I think moving X over to free safety, letting Cohen play strong. I think on the back end, they're probably as talented as they've been in a long time, honestly. If those two stay healthy, I think, man, guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I'm a homer. Like, I'll never say I'm not, but.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about, because we're talking about rebound seasons.
Yeah.
Not so much rebound-ish, but TJ Hall had a solid season last year.
He did.
What do you think about him?
What? I think TJ's probably that next guy, that next cornerback at Iowa. I really do. And then going out and getting that kid, his name
Barrows, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not sleeping on Deshaun Lee either, guys. Like, I watched that dude play some phenomenal football. Yes, there were some steps back last year. I understand that, but guys were thrust into positions that they weren't ready for yet. Now they got a season under their belt. Just I'm telling everybody, let it come together.
And you got to feel good about Phil Parker working with some of these other names, just that little bit extra time throughout the offseason. He's done it so many times before that even coming on the heels of a year that, look, let's just call it what it was. Defensively, it wasn't what Iowa fans have been accustomed to across the board, and in particular in the defensive backfield. But he's kind of earned the benefit of the doubt that he's going to rebound and find a star the next season.
And think about that, too, what you just said. Iowa had a down season last year when they were still ranked top 30, 40 in defense in the country. That's a great defense. So the fact that that's an underwhelming season says a lot about Iowa, because we've, again, top 10, like what's the perennial top 10 pretty much.
100%. And that's what people fail to realize, man. Like, they were still 11th, I think, in scoring defense nationally. I mean, like, we've been spoiled on defense, and I think we'll be just fine this season, guys.
Yeah. And it's not like Kirk Ferentz is in the portal every single year, bringing in half a defense every single year. No, I mean, he'll bring in a Nick Jackson here and there. Obviously, you're going to add guys, but for the most part, it is guys who came in the program as freshmen and developed. Again, I've said it probably like 10 times on the show, developing. That's what Kirk Ferentz does. And for those who probably need more context on that, Iowa being ranked top 30 defense is like Alabama being scammed of the college football playoffs last year. It's like, it doesn't happen. It's
an anomaly.
Yeah, it's an anomaly. And that's the worst that could happen.
Trenton, hey, man, good call. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the Call-In Show, man. Look forward to chatting with you more.
Oh, yeah, for sure, guys. Hey, keep it up, man. I love your guys' show. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, buddy. Hey, we appreciate you jumping in and hanging out with us. How about that? A great set of calls. Anybody else, if you want to jump in here, we still have, 11 minutes or so for you. I guess I can share that StreamYard link in there one more time. If you're new to this, you just jump into the StreamYard link, and from the backstage, we'll take you front stage, and you can chat with us, Iowa, at the voice of college football. One thing I'm curious about this season is, can Iowa be better, Chris, at closing down leads? That is an area that the Hawkeyes have been so great over the last decade plus, and they just weren't great at that a season ago at times. They had leads, they had double-figure leads, and unfortunately, they gave them away versus the Iowa State. Michigan State, UCLA, Missouri. I mean, there's a number of games in there that Iowa had every opportunity to win, and they just didn't do a season ago. So I think when my brain starts tackling that, Chris, I come back to, okay, well, in tight football games, hopefully this year, Iowa has a quarterback it can lean on to go give them a drive or ignite a drive if and when they need it.
And that's what I was going to follow up with. It's just, I just think the quarterback, Mark Granassi, I feel so confident in him that, you know, Iowa won't have these lapses in the second half where we just can't score. And it's not like, again, yes, we had the best running back in Iowa football history, one of the best running backs in Big Ten history in Caleb Johnson last year. But it's one thing when you know we're going to run the ball because that's all we can do. We can't throw the ball downfield. You can't consistently throw the ball downfield. So that just has the defense all collapsing inside. You're only getting certain yardage. Caleb Johnson, as big as he is, 6'1", 230, 240, however big he is, there's only so much he can do when 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys are tackling him when he gets 2 yards out. And I think this year, yes, I feel confident in Kamari Mullen and Jazz Patterson. I think that running back duo is really going to give some people problems. But it's different when Mark Gronowski, if you look at his footage, again, he has that arm to hit short field, downfield. And again, he has an IQ where if he scrambles, he's going to know when to run right in front of the line of scrimmage and throw a little dump off passes, you collapsed, or he's just going to take it himself. He's going to hit a guy and get 5 more yards. I think Mark Gronowski provides so much versatility at the quarterback. And with this consistent arm to throw downfield, it's going to open up so much. It's going to create more opportunities consistently to get downfield. And if anything, it's going to set us up in field goal range more often, much less the touchdowns. And it's going to get Drew Stevens consistent kicks at the 30 and the 40, which are able to expand that lead. And maybe if we have a 14, somehow like a 16 touchdown lead, 17, we'll say 17. They score 2 touchdowns, but Drew Stevens is able to get 2 kicks in the second half. We win by 6. Last year, we weren't able to get kicks. So I think just even getting in field goal range will be the difference between last season and this season. Putting points on the board, regardless of what the points are, and not putting points on the board. I think that's going to be the biggest difference. It's not just the touchdowns. You got to think about that one.
And the field position side for Iowa and its defense. The Hawkeye defense for a long time has been able to operate at a deficit. No problem, right? But the idea that you can put them in more advantageous situations with greater regularity, and as you're pointing out, Chris, just scoring drives, even if it's field goals, is not all bad. And if there's more of those, then that will be a positive adjustment for Hawkeye fans. Seth, what's up, my friend? He made the live stream. Is multitasking, so is not calling in. I take that remark, Seth. Says Shire is a stud, could have easily started last year. And let's see, if we get more pressure on the quarterback during passing downs, that'll take a ton of pressure off our cornerbacks. And I think this defensive line is going to be one of Kirk's best ever.
That's a
T-Heek said, that's
bold. Yeah, it's bold. It could very well happen every year. College football is just so unique. You never know who's going to be that player. So it could happen very well. And I think that Iowa has the pedigree to be, if everyone kind of takes last year, learns from it, and, gets better from that, mainly X and TJ Hall, and Deshaun Lee had a down year too. But those guys take advantage of it. And Shaheed Barrows too, he's going to step in and, produced as well with John Nestor gone. I'm sure he's going to fill in one of those positions.
Logan, good evening. Welcome to the program. You guys do live call-ins weekly. Yes, we do live call-ins weekly. If Chris's schedule or my schedule if they don't oblige, then maybe not on a given week. But hopefully at some point we get, both Chris and myself. I mean, look, I can blow and go for an hour if need be, but I don't want to put Chris in that situation if, I'm not there. But at some point, he might be to that point to where he's comfortable and says, forget you, Josh. I don't need you, dude. An hour? Are you kidding me? With Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live and these guests and these fans, we'll just rip right through it. But yes, the idea is every Thursday at 6 o'clock, we'll take your thoughts, your comments. not just in the YouTube chat, though we love you in the YouTube chat, but where you could just jump right in and call in and chat with us. And then we're here on Monday nights too. That's not our college show. That's where we just kick it around back and forth for an hour right here. Iowa at the voice of college football. We call this Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live.
Yeah. I think I do feel comfortable. I could for an hour, but now I feel like since we've done calling shows, now we know how this works. I feel like in the case where if I'm not here, you're not here, might as well just do a call-in show and have people hop in.
There you go.
I think that I know I was there, not there at one time, and you did good for an hour for not having nobody else to talk to and just talk for an hour. You did good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot easier when you could talk to somebody. Anybody.
In retrospect, probably a little bit too much college football playoff talk in that particular episode. I don't know how I spent an hour talking about are they going to expand this thing or not, but we sure as heck filibustered the thing, no doubt about it, which, by the way, we've got more news on that. The news, Chris, is that, well, we've got no news. They're going back to the drawing board. They're starting fresh with any potential college football playoff expansion, which is the most college football update of all college football updates is, hey, we're going back to the drawing board.
Yeah, they got to think about it some more. There is a couple ways where they could do this, and they just want to be sure that, the way they do commit to do it is the best way. And considering that we did do an expansion last year, I think it is good to experiment with this model for a couple of years before we jump into something else. So I am on board with it. It's probably the smartest move long term. Because what if they do decide to do something and then it doesn't work out? T-Hink, I promise you.
I just saw this.
If you come in, T-Hink, I got you on that discount. Honeybee wings, however, whatever you want, man. You want spicy garlic, mango habanero? Don't try that because that's too hot. Whatever you want, man.
Man, Parmesan garlic sounds pretty good. It's just about dinner time in the Helmer household, and I could go for some bone-in or boneless wings. Don't care. Either or sounds pretty good. Do we have to make a phone call to Mark, by the way? Do we have to call the boss and say, hey, what's going on? He predicted 7-5 for Iowa?
Yeah. Mark should hop in this one and explain himself. He got to hop in this one.
That's right. I mean, we got a number of people here that want an explanation, and we want it now.
Yeah, you got to have some faith in the Hawkeyes. I'm telling you, I think they're gonna surprise people. I'm never super negative, probably a little too positive, but I just have faith in the Hawks. I'm never gonna doubt them and hope for a losing season.
Well, we've got another busy recruiting weekend before we get out of here coming up for Iowa football. And we're on the heels of the Hawkeye Tailgater, where I have not done the greatest job this week of explaining who all came to the Hawkeye Tailgater. But check out my work, HawkeyesWire.com, where I wrote about the visitors to the Hawkeye Tailgater. I guess I can link that real quick before we get out of here. And at any rate, we've got a busy recruiting weekend coming up. Some of the folks that are going to be on campus, a number of the commits, Chris, in this 2026 class, Carson Nielsen, Hudson Parliament, Gene Riordan will be there, Marcelo, Linder, Witters, Schaefer, Jezierski, who just committed, DeAndre Smith, we're waiting to find out if he's going to be there, and then some folks that you're hoping could be commits in short order to the Hawkeyes. Class of 2026, linebacker Julian Manson, linebacker Kason Thomas, another 2026 linebacker is going to be on campus this weekend in Iowa City for one of the big recruiting weekends, Chris. And let's see, cornerback Darian Jones will be in the house. Defensive back CJ Hester will be in the house, as will cornerback Mason Lewis in the house this weekend. So as the summer typically goes for Iowa, we're in that middle to late June portion of the calendar, and this is a big recruiting season for Iowa, Chris. And we hope that some of these official visits we can in short order report to you, hey, there's a 24/7 Sports crystal ball prediction in, and oh, by the way, boom, now there's a commit on the board, another one to add to the name. But this is going to be a important weekend to monitor for Iowa.
Yes. Before I get into that, I got to shout out T-Hink because this makes me happy to see. Appreciate my people. Appreciate people reading my articles that I put in. I'm very prideful about that stuff. It's an honor to be working for the Des Moines Register. But before that, appreciate you, my guy. I think I'm just trying to think about what's the most important position to recruit. For me in football, it's just really hard to do that just because every position is so vital, and it's such a team game that if one singular position is playing below standards, that could really mess everything up. So I feel like every position is so important. But in at least from your work in Hawkeye Wire that I read about people that went to that recruiting event, I saw a lot of old linemen, and these old linemen are big, or almost all 300 pounds. But I feel like you just see it where if the quarterback doesn't have protection, well, now we know defense can win you championships, but you need an offense to do it too. And there's only so much you could do with the limited offense. And the quarterback might be good, but if he doesn't have protection, he can't make plays. But if it's a below average quarterback, he does have protection, it makes him better. I feel like O-line and that running game is better too. I just feel like O-line is so vital. And I feel like out of all those recruits, the O-line was there the most. And maybe that is the position that we got to dive into most. Because honestly, we do have a couple guys that are younger at think about a receiver. The DB is actually important too. I'm gonna get to that. Receivers, running backs. We have those guys, the skills guys that are young, and that core group we have now is probably going to come back next year. The defense, the linebackers, I'm sure one of them will get drafted, but they'll leave. D-line is very important. O-line is very important. And then the DBs, more specifically, probably the safeties, because Xavier is going to leave after next year. That's really important too. So I feel like that's what you got to focus on is the DBs, particularly the safeties, the D-line and the O-line. But the lines is the key. It has to be the key for this offseason and next, because you got to get them big guys up front to hold down the fort in the trenches.
A couple of the comments, and we'll call it a wrap for this Wednesday College show on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. And please invite you to like the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop or when we're live here. Iowa at the voice of college football. And even if you don't like us, Corey Bratta and Mark, they got you covered too. So you got all sorts of Iowa content right here. Logan says 7-5. Now, was that your prediction, or is that you angry emoji there at Mark 7-5? Seth says I'll say 9-3, which I think is a measured prediction.
Realistic.
CJ, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's just very realistic. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's a realistic prediction. CJ's right. I mean, this is right on the money. Every year, it all comes down to that Iowa State game. Win it, and we go 9-3 or 10-2. Lose it, and it's a 7-5 or 8-4 year. Going back to 2010, every year they've lost to Iowa State, they don't win more than 8 games. You've got to win that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the conference opponents are so tough. As we know now, it's the best conference in the Big Ten, our best conference in college football. It's not always been like that, but regardless, the Big Ten is always competitive. So it's important to get those games early before the tough schedule rolls in, because there's going to be some opponents we just don't have the talent to beat. There's going to be those opponents that we just have a bad game and slip up and let one go. So it's important to get those key wins early, especially against the rivals, because that's just, it kind of makes or breaks the season in a sense.
Okay, we're just about to call it a day here on Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. If you're new here, one thing out the door, this is our little opportunity to maybe not talk Iowa football for a couple of minutes or Iowa basketball for a minute or two. We don't overwhelm you with 20 minutes of something that's not Iowa athletics. So one thing out the door, Chris, anything on your mind tonight? Yes.
First of all, shout out the Florida Panthers for winning the Stanley Cup. That's a dynasty. I'm willing to say dynasty. 3 Stanley Cups in a row. They've been to two in a row. They won. I'm gonna bring this up, but I don't want to do what everyone else has been doing on TV about the Fever Sun game, the little scuffles and everything. I hate that every time I turn on the TV or I just see it on TV, these debate shows talking about it. It's all they talk about is that scuffle, but they don't talk about the game itself and how the Fever kind of dominated their way into a win with Kayla Clark putting up 20 and 6 on 6 of 12 shooting. She had a good game. Kelsey Mitchell put up 17. Natasha Howard had a 16-point, 12 rebound double-double. And Aaliyah Boston had 99. That's pretty solid. I think all their players played well. It was a good game, competitive, regardless of the Fever winning by 17. but all they're going to talk about is Caitlin Clark, the golden child, getting knocked on the floor. Like, that doesn't happen in the NBA. Yes, it happened in the W. We're not used to seeing that. And Ohio State-Iowa rivalry with J.C. Sheldon, Caitlin Clark is very real. And then Sophie Cunningham, shout out for her sticking up to her teammate. But, it's just very annoying. And also, it's got to be annoying for the Fever players too. When Caitlin Clark was out, all they're talking about is, the Fever lost without Caitlin Clark again. Oh, Caitlin Clark, they got to win without Caitlin Clark. It's like, why can't it just be the Fever got to win? Like, why can't they say, okay, Fever have a good team? They're holding on to fort without Caitlin Clark. And now Caitlin Clark's back. Caitlin Clark is back and the Fever win. It makes sense. I understand why they're talking about it, but man, like, for me, it's just like, I like the Fever. They're a good team, and Caitlin Clark is not the entire team. So we gotta these people on these big platforms gotta stop making it about, just like it's Caitlin Clark on the team. I understand everyone's there for her, but it's more than just Caitlin Clark, and that's why they're a contender.
It is a reasonable point that you're making, and I think it's what many WNBA players are feeling out there. The only thing I would say is she's not like everybody else. Ratings were slashed in half. Not they had a 10% drop, not they had a 20%, more than 50% of the viewership gone in the blink of an eye, minus Caitlin Clark. So if you ask the question, okay, why is it the Indiana Fever can't win without Caitlin Clark, or why is it the Indiana Fever win first game minus Caitlin Clark? It's because she's that, Chris. Mm-hmm. She's the eyeballs. She's the interest. She's the clicks. So respectfully, I say to J.C. Sheldon, make a basketball play or don't. Don't go for Caitlin Clark's eyes. Are you crazy? She is getting you and everybody else in this league paid. And that's the way you're going to treat her. I get the Ohio State-Iowa thing, but are you nuts? Do you want to drive her away from this league? Are you crazy? What is wrong with you, J.C. Sheldon?
2 points and 4 fouls last night for J.C. Sheldon. Also, I do want to say this too. I don't know if your point was done yet. I'm sorry if I cut you off. I see T-X question. Do I think the Pacers are done? I want OKC to win at home. I got OKC winning, but I think they might be done because I think OKC won two in a row, and I think they kind of have it figured out.
And Halliburton is dealing with the calf strain and is a game-time decision. And even if he plays, Chris, what we saw in Game 5 doesn't necessarily look like Halliburton can truly be a factor for the Pacers. So I think that I think the Pacers are capable of winning a game, even minus Halliburton at home. Siakam and the rest of those guys, Toppin, I think they can win a game, but to me, the series is over. If you're telling me that OKC doesn't have its own injury, Chris, I think that's your new NBA champion.
Yeah. Do you think that did you watch the whole game? Did you watch the entire game?
I live in Oklahoma City. I watched the entire game.
You did. Do you believe that, because I've been seeing this on the internet, and I agree with everyone saying that Rick Carlisle should have kept TJ McConnell in more. Do you think he should have kept him in more?
I think hindsight.
The Pacers, they probably win that game.
Hindsight being 2020, I don't know why he didn't play more. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with McConnell for him to go out there and lay like 15 bricks in a game. It hasn't happened. Instead, we're still in that Barea and Dellavedova, like we're in that bubble with TJ McConnell. And I know he's a good player, but I'm sort of waiting for that other shoe to drop. It hadn't dropped yet, and I'm with you. I think Carlisle made a mistake by not playing him more. But I'm saying OVER over. The series is DUN done, and I think it's over tomorrow night in Indiana. But
that is elite ball knowledge comparing TJ McConnell to JJ Barea and Matthew Dellavedova, because that is exactly what he is. That is elite ball knowledge. I just got to say. That's
what it is, man. Hey, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back with you on Hawkeye Howard, by the way, before we get out of here. I hope everything is okay with your procedure. Hawkeye Howard, we're glad to see you. Glad you're home, and hope everything's going all right. But we're sorry we missed you. Hey, the beautiful thing is you can go watch the replay. Just search Iowa at the Voice of College Football if you're late to the party tonight. But thanks for at least making it right here at the tail end, Hawkeye Howard. And more importantly than that, we're glad that hopefully you're doing okay. Until we see everybody again and we all reconvene on Monday at 6 o'clock. For Chris, I'm Josh. This is Iowa Hawkeyes Primetime Live. Everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday night. So long, everybody.
Thanks for hopping in, y'all. We appreciate your support, everybody.